Good evening, students.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, so let's wait 2 minutes for the students. Some more students are joining. So in the last class, we have discussed some question answer, long answer question and 1 marks question related to the life processes chapter. So in this session also, we are discussing some questions which are related to this chapter. Some short answer question also, as well as some MCQ question also. I hope you know the MCQ question means multiple choice question. So 4 answers will be given and you have to choose the correct answer. So that also will be there in your board exam. I hope you know this pattern means MCQ questions will be there in your board exam and 1 marks question will be there. So we are discussing both MCQ question, 1 mark question and the long answer question also. Okay, and students, please note down the question answer and important points. So in your notebook, be ready with the pen and the notebook. Okay, so simply don't watch the class, just note down the important points. It will be helpful for your board exam. Okay. Yes, so let us start the class with the first question. So here first question is, this is the 1 marks question what we are discussing, that is 1 marks question. So here first question is, why lymph is called as extracellular fluid? So first you should know what is a lymph, right? So that concept I have explained in the life processes chapter. So once again I will explain briefly, that is, so if it is a capillary, so in the capillaries, the blood is flowing, right? So blood flowing in the capillary, some constituents of the blood, so that will drain out from these capillaries, and that is called as a lymph. That is nothing but lymph. Okay. So if from any capillary, the some components of the blood drain out and form the fluid, that is called as a lymph. So what it contain? Lymph, that is, that contain the protein, but it lacks what? So RBC is not present in the lymph. Okay, so just for your knowledge purpose, RBC will be not there in the lymph. And what is the definition of this? So as all the cells bath in it, it lies outside the cells, it is called as a extracellular fluid. Means just it is outside the cells. Okay, so it is called as a extracellular fluid. So you should know the concept of the lymph, what is lymph and how it is formed. So these all you should know. So note down the point. Okay, shall I move the slide? Yes. Am I audible? Anybody please confirm, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, shall I change the slide?
Yep.
Okay. Second question, where sugar and other metabolites are synthesized in the plant. So you know that sugar, that is nothing but a glucose, right? So glucose is synthesized in the and some other metabolites. So that is uh, helping for the growth of the plants. So they are synthesized in which part of the plant? If you know the answer, you can say where it is synthesized. Anybody? Through the photosynthesis process. Where the photosynthesis process takes place?
Inside the plant.
Yes, inside the plant, but which part? Which part of the plant? Which part of the plant that is able to perform the photosynthesis?
Is it a leaf, ma'am?
Yes, leaves. Yes, correct answer, leaves. So sugar means glucose. So through the photosynthesis process, so plants synthesize these all metabolites and the sugar. So where the photosynthesis process takes place? In the leaves, because the leaves, they contain the chlorophyll and able to absorb the sunlight. So this process will take place in the leaves. Okay, or you can write leaf. So understood. See the next question. Name the cell organelle in which respiration takes place. You know the process of the respiration. So if you define the respiration in a simple definition, that is intake of the oxygen, intake of oxygen, and give out the carbon dioxide, right? So that is the simple definition. But this oxygen actual respiration, cellular respiration, so that is used for the cellular respiration. So here this oxygen is used to break down the glucose, right? So glucose break down and gives the energy. So where this process will takes place? So inside which cell organelle? Very important, which is called as a powerhouse of the cell.
Mitochondria.
Yes, so in the mitochondria, the respiration takes place in the mitochondria. In mitochondria, what happens? So, in the presence of the oxygen in the mitochondria, glucose, what we take through the food, glucose breakdown in the presence of the oxygen and form the energy in the form of ATP, and carbon dioxide is released. So this carbon dioxide is again exhaled by our body through the lungs, right? So this is the actual respiration. Okay, so this will takes place where? In the mitochondria, right? So note down the question. Yes. Shall I change the slide? Okay. Name the structures through which gaseous exchange takes place in plants. So, you know that in plants also there are some structure, they help for the exchange of the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. So, CO2 and oxygen. So, this carbon dioxide is required for the photosynthesis process, right? And this oxygen is released during the photosynthesis process. And during the respiration in plants also need the oxygen for their respiration and give out the carbon dioxide. So for this exchange of the gases in our body, there is a lungs and the respiratory system is developed, right? But in plants there is a small openings, what they are called, through that gaseous exchange takes place.
Stomata.
Yes, very good, stomata. So through the stomata, the gaseous exchange of the plants takes place. Gaseous exchange means exchange of the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. Okay. Yes, note down the question. Okay. Where is urine carried through the ureters? So you know the excretory system in the human body that contains the kidneys, pair of ureters, and the urethra, urinary bladder, right? So this is pair of kidneys. So so this is just rough diagram I'm drawing. Okay, so here these are the pair of kidneys, and this is the ureters. So this tube-like structure that carry the urine that is produced in the kidney, and this is the urethra. So here, what is the question? Where is urine carried through the ureters? Where it is carried? Where it is stored?
Bladder.
Urinary bladder. Okay, so answer is urinary bladder, because kidneys, they produce the urines. So that urine carried through the pipe-like structure that is called as a ureter and stored in a structure that is called as a urinary bladder. Okay, so these ureters carry the urine to the urinary bladder. So that is also important question. Kidneys to the urinary bladder. Note down the answer. Yes. Shall I change the slide? Okay. Next question is, name the largest artery in our body. Yes. So the largest artery that carries the oxygenated blood to all the parts of our body. So which is the largest artery in our body? Anybody? Do you know the answer?
Lungs.
No. Lungs are there. That is the part of the respiratory system, right? So this is the part of the circulatory system. Arteries means they carry the blood. Arteries, they carried the blood. So there is a largest artery in our heart, so in our body, so that carry the blood from the heart. So that what it is called? Anybody? Note down the question. That is called as aorta. So just observe this diagram. So this diagram is also very important for your board exam. Okay, so draw the neat label diagram of the sectional view of the heart. So they will ask, so practice this diagram also. And here this is the aorta. So this carries the oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. So that is the artery. So that carries the blood. That is the aorta, largest artery in our body. That is nothing but the aorta. So have you observed the diagram? Aorta. So this aorta carries the blood to the different parts of our body. So that is the oxygenated blood. Okay. Answer is aorta. Okay. So the largest artery in our body is aorta. Yes. Next question is, name the two conducting tissues of plants.
Xylem and phloem.
Yes. Xylem and phloem. So xylem is meant for what?
Water conducting tissue.
Yes, water conducting tissue, and phloem is
Food conduct.
food,
Sorry.
food
Conducting
conducting tissue,
tissue.
right? So these are the main tissues. They are associated with the water and the food. Okay. So that is also 1 marks question. Note down the question. Next question is, what are the end products of the aerobic respiration? So aerobic respiration takes place in commonly in the human beings, right? So what are the end products of the aerobic respiration? Very important question. Anybody? If you know the answer, you can tell. What are the end products of the aerobic respiration? You know that aerobic respiration where the glucose convert into pyruvate, right? So glucose is converting into pyruvate, and this pyruvate, so that is in the presence of the oxygen. Aerobic respiration means what? In the presence of the oxygen, glucose will break down and gives the energy. So aerobic respiration produces what? Carbon dioxide, water, and the energy. Okay, so first of all, you should know what is aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means glucose will break down and release the energy in the presence of the oxygen. Okay, that is called as a aerobic respiration. Where does the aerobic respiration takes place? Commonly in our body, except the muscle cells, they perform the aerobic respiration. So what are the products produced in the aerobic respiration? That is carbon dioxide. Remember this, carbon dioxide, water, and the energy is released. Okay, so these are the end products. Where the anaerobic respiration takes place, then can you define the what is anaerobic respiration? Anybody? Anaerobic. Aerobic means in the presence of the oxygen, glucose breaks down and form the products. Anaerobic means?
Absence of oxygen.
Yes, in the absence of oxygen, what happens? Glucose breaks down and produce the products, right?
And absence of oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Note down the question. Next, ninth one question is, what are the end products of the anaerobic respiration in yeast? So you know that anaerobic respiration, so that will take place in the yeast and also in which cells? Also in muscle cells. Muscle cells, sometimes they perform the anaerobic respiration. Okay, so here what they ask, respiration in yeast, anaerobic respiration in yeast, right? So here glucose that will break down into pyruvate molecule, pyruvate. So this is same in all three types of the respiration. Pyruvate, and pyruvate molecule, in the absence of the oxygen is not there, so that will produce the ethanol. So that is a alcohol, right? Ethanol, and anybody? Carbon dioxide, and energy is, small amount of energy is released in this process. So you should know the end products of these both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so aerobic respiration end products ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು?
Oh, carbon dioxide, water, and energy.
Carbon dioxide, water, and
And
energy is released, right? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ anaerobic respiration ಆದಾಗ ಏನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ethyl alcohol means alcohol, ethyl alcohol, then carbon dioxide, CO2, and energy is released. So both you should know. So this may be asked in one question, 1 marks question, or it may be asked for the 3 marks question, because there are 3 different types of the respiration: anaerobic respiration in yeast, anaerobic respiration in muscle cells, and aerobic respiration. So these 3 together may ask for the 2 or 3 marks question. Okay, so very important, and asked in the previous year question paper also, on previous year exams also. Okay, so please note down both the question. Next question is, what is the functions of the walls of the circulatory system? So you should know about the walls. What is the function of the walls of the circulatory system? So this question is also very important. So in the circulatory system, in the heart, so there are 4 chambers, right? So what are the 4 chambers? What are the 4 chambers of heart?
Right atrium,
Huh.
right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle.
Okay, good. So here there are some walls are present in between the atrium and the ventricles. Okay, so if it is a atrium, so that receives the blood, and the blood, so that moves to the ventricle, right? So that you have studied. So if it is a ventricle, this is the atrium. So in between the atrium and ventricle, so there are valves are present. So what is the use of these valves? So these valves, they they prevent the backflow of the blood. Okay, so they prevent the backflow of the blood to the ventricles. Or these valves are also present in the aorta and the pulmonary veins. Okay, so these prevent the backflow of the blood to the atria or the ventricle. So like that, they helps for the heart. Okay, while in the circulatory system. So just you can note down this. What is the function of the valves in the circulatory system? Very important question. And note down the answer also. They prevent the backflow of the blood. Okay.
1 minute.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. So next 10 questions will be there. MCQ questions means 4 options will be given and you have to choose the correct one. Okay. So this type of questions also there in your board exam. So you have to practice this type of question also. 11th question is, the filtration units of kidneys are called. What they are called?
Second option.
Ureter, urethra,
Urethra.
nephrons. Read the question. Wait. Vinay Kumar, what's your name?
Vinay Kumar.
Okay, Vinay Kumar. Yes, read the question properly. Here, what they ask, the filtration units of the kidneys are called. So, you know, there are pair of bean-shaped structure. They are called as kidneys, right? And please mute your audio. And there are ureters. They carry the urine that is produced inside the kidney. Ganavi, please mute your audio. Ganavi, Ganavi, please mute your audio. Yes. So here,
Correct answer, ma'am.
there are pair of kidneys. So they produce the urine, right? So that urine is passed through the ureter. The function of the ureter that carries the urine, and urethra that store the urine. Okay. And neurons, that is a part of the nervous system, that is not a part of the kidney. Okay. So what are nephrons? What are nephrons? So these nephrons, they are the filtration units of the kidneys. So these nephrons are able to produce the urine inside the kidneys. Kidneys have millions of nephrons. Millions of nephrons are present in the kidneys. And these nephrons, they have the coiled structure. I hope you have studied about the nephrons. So these nephrons are called as, also called as structural and functional unit of the structural and functional unit of the kidney, because inside the kidney urine is produced, you know that. So inside the bean shaped structure urine is produced, but how it is produced? Because of the nephrons. And these nephrons are called as filtration units, because they filter the blood and produce the waste products and release the waste product that in the form of urine. Okay, so correct answer is nephrons. Got my answer? Got this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next question is, every plant product has a dump for a waste products it is. So here already we have, I think we have discussed in the last class. So plants also produce the waste product, means there is no specialized structure for the excretion, right? To excrete the waste product in the human body, there is a excretory system, right? But here there is no specialized structure, but sometime waste products, so that can be stored, that can be dumped in the specialized structure of the plant. What it is called? Okay, so option A, cytoplasm. So here second answer is central vacuole, Golgi apparatus, lysosome. Yes, what is the answer? Anybody?
First one.
In the cytoplasm?
Yes, miss.
No.
And lysomes.
No, wrong answer. Correct answer is central vacuole. So in the plant cell, so there is a vacuole that is in the center, right? So the nucleus is at the towards the peripheral region, but this vacuole, so that is occupying 70 to 90% of the plant cell, and this is able to store the some waste products, so that is produced in the plant, that is the vacuole. Okay, so note down the answer, note down the correct answer. Not in the cytoplasm, not lysosomes. They are called as suicide bags of the cells, means they are not eliminating the waste products. Okay. Yes. Next question is, which one of the following carries oxygenated blood? Okay. So here in the heart, different types of veins and arteries are there, right? So here, pulmonary artery, hepatic portal vein, pulmonary vein, and all of the above. So oxygenated blood is carried by, so from the heart to the different parts of our body, there is a specialized artery that is called as a aorta. But here, oxygenated blood, so that is carried to the heart through these veins. So what is the answer? That is pulmonary vein. Yes. So these pulmonary veins, they carry the oxygenated blood. Okay. If you practice the diagram, you can answer easily for these all question. Okay, please students practice the diagram of the heart. So that is very important, very very important. So try to practice that. So if you start the practice from today, so you will be perfect within a few days. Okay, so don't neglect that, please practice that. Next question is, cramps are caused by heavy exercise resulting in the accumulation of what? So when you do the exercise, so your muscle cells are active, right? So these muscle cells, they perform the anaerobic respiration. These muscle cells, they are able to perform the anaerobic respiration, and during the anaerobic respiration in the muscle cells, they produce the product. What it is called? Mainly which product?
Lactic acid.
Yes, very good. Lactic acid. So this lactic acid, that is responsible for the cramps. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವು ಹೆವಿ ಎಕ್ಸಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಸಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಾಂಪ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಂಗ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮಸಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದ ಅನರೋಬಿಕ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅನರೋಬಿಕ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್, see the answer, see the question. 15th one, anaerobic respiration in the muscle does not produce lactic acid, energy, carbon
Energy.
dioxide. Energy is not produced. So the main thing of the glucose breakdown is producing the energy, right? So in the
Lactic acid.
lactic
Lactic
acid, no, read the question properly. After that you can give the answer. Anaerobic respiration in the muscle cells does not produce, it produces the lactic acid, right? So in the last question only I have explained. So lactic acid is produced in the muscle cells during the anaerobic respiration, but again you are saying here, read the question, not produced means
Carbon dioxide.
carbon dioxide, and energy is produced because the main thing is breakdown of the glucose is production of energy, right? Along with the energy they produce the lactic acid, but here carbon dioxide is not produced. That is the correct answer. Got the answer? Note down the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, absorption is maximum in the small intestine because of the presence of villi, its length, its thin walls, all of the above. So you know that in the small intestine, so all the absorption of nutrients will takes place. Main absorption and the digestion both will takes place in the small intestine. So that is also important. In the small intestine, in which part of the digestive system absorption and digestion and absorption of the nutrient takes place, that is the small intestine. So what is the reason behind this? Because absorption is maximum, because one reason you know that. So in the last class we have discussed that presence of this hip finger like projection, what it is called?
Villi.
Villi. And its length is also long compared to the other organs. The length is more, and it is having the thin walls also. So what you can say? Answer is
All
All the above.
yes, all of the above is the correct answer.
Yes,
Note
ma'am.
down the question.
Over, ma'am.
Okay. The enzyme that acts only in acidic medium is pepsin, trypsin, renin, amylase. So
Pepsin.
here,
Pepsin.
okay,
Pepsin.
pepsin is the correct answer because so which acid is produced to produce the acidic medium?
Ma'am, hydrochloric acid.
Yes, hydrochloric acid that is providing the acidic medium for the pepsin. So pepsin acts on the
Amylase.
pepsin that helps for the digestion of what?
Food.
Yes, in the food, which nutrient?
Okay.
Protein, right? Protein is partially digested by this pepsin and trypsin that also act on the protein and amylase. So you can write salivary amylase enzyme is also there. So this salivary amylase enzyme that acts on the carbohydrate. Okay. So
Pepsin.
next question is organisms that synthesize their own food are called green plants, sulfur bacteria, autotrophs, purple sulfur bacteria.
Green
Autotroph.
plant.
Autotrophs.
Green plants, yes, they are not called, yes, they prepare their own food, but the organisms which synthesize their own food, so they for them there is a specialized name is there. They are called as autotrophs.
Autotrophs.
And example for autotroph is green plants. Okay, green plants are autotrophs, but organisms that synthesize their own food, they are called as autotrophs. Along with the green plants, some bacteria, they are also able to prepare their own food, means they are also called as autotrophs. Okay, and organisms which depend on the other organisms, they are called as for their food, what they are called?
Heterotrophs.
Yes, heterotrophs. Correct answer. Next question. Note down the question. The carbohydrates synthesized in the leaves are transported through the sieve tubes, most commonly in the form of what? So, you have studied about the transportation of the food in the plants, that is through the phloem, right? So, in the phloem, again, there is a method of transportation of the food materials to the different parts of the plant body. So, here, the carbohydrate that is produced that will convert into a, so in which form? Glucose, sucrose, fructose and soluble starch. So in which
Glucose.
no, not in the form of glucose.
Soluble
Second
starch.
option.
Soluble starch.
Yes, no, that is in the form of fructose. So this is also mentioned in your textbook. These plants, they transport the food in the form of sucrose, mainly in the form of sucrose. Sucrose is nothing but that is a type of the carbohydrate similar to the glucose. Okay.
Now, what is the answer now?
Sucrose. Answer is sucrose.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So note down this question.
Over, ma'am.
Okay. Here, the mammalian lungs have enormous number of minute alveoli. So this is to allow more space for increasing the volume of inspired air, more surface area for the diffusion of gases, more nerve supply to the lungs for the efficient functioning, greater sponginess in the lungs. You know that human respiratory system, so in the respiratory system, so they contain small balloon like structure, right? So they contain small balloon like structure at the end of the bronchioles. So this is the bronchi, sorry, this is the windpipe, trachea, and it divides into two branches, that is called as bronchi. And again this bronchi will split into small
What?
tubes. They are called as bronchioles. At the end of the bronchioles, they have small balloon like structure, numerous balloon like structure. So what they are called?
Alveoli.
Alveoli, right? So what is the function of these alveoli? They are in the uh, more number. These alveoli are the balloon like structure, so they have more number, and they have the um, connection of the blood vessels where the exchange of the gases will takes place, right? So here, more space for increasing the volume of the inspired air, more surface area for the diffusion of gases, more nerve supply to the lungs for the efficient functioning, greater the sponginess in the lungs. What is the correct answer here? Read the question properly and choose the correct answer. Note down the question.
Greater sponginess in the lungs.
Lungs is produced by
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one?
4.
3.
3.
4.
3. 3.
Okay. We'll see the correct answer. That is more surface area for the diffusion of the gases. Option 2 is the correct answer, because here oxygen and the carbon dioxide exchange will takes place in the lungs, right? So it provide the more surface area for these gases. Carbon dioxide will go out from our body, and oxygen, what we intake the oxygen through the nose, that will diffuse into the blood, right? So for this process, it helps for the increasing the surface area for the exchange of gases, for the diffusion of gases. So that is providing the more surface area. That is the correct answer. Note down the question. Next question. What do the following transport? So this is long answer question. Means this is not a multiple choice question. We have discussed 10 1 marks question and some MCQ question. So let us discuss some long answer question. Okay. So here, xylem, phloem, right? Pulmonary veins. Okay. Pulmonary veins and vena cava. So I hope you heard this word. What do the following transport? What they transport? Xylem, they transport the water. Then phloem,
Food.
so food conducting tissue in plants, and pulmonary veins it is. Okay, pulmonary veins.
Deoxygenated
Blood.
Deoxygenated or oxygenated?
Oxygenated.
Blood.
Oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood?
Oxygenated blood.
Blood.
Okay. Vena cava. What is vena cava? So this vena cava in the heart, so they will carry the deoxygenated blood from the different parts of our body, and they carry to the heart. So this vena cava, they collect the deoxygenated blood from the different parts of our body, and this deoxygenated blood, so they carry it to the heart. Okay. So the deoxygenated blood is carried to the heart?
Vena cava.
Yes, vena cava. Note down the answer. So here, xylem transport the water and minerals in plant. Phloem transport the food in plants. Pulmonary veins, they transport the oxygenated blood. These pulmonary veins, they transport the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle of the heart. So they carry the oxygenated blood where the ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಲಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಏನು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್, ಆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ಟು ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್. ಟು ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್, ವಿಚ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್? Atrium, that is the left atrium or the left auricle it is called. Okay, so pulmonary veins, pulmonary arteries they carry the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Okay, so adana correct agi ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. pulmonary arteries, they carry the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Okay, so here one more thing is ಆರ್ಟರೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸಿಗೆ. ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್. ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ದಿಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ 4 ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು ಅದು? ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ಟರಿ? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಯೋರ್ಟಾ. ಅಯೋರ್ಟಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ? ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಇಸ್ that is carrying the deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs ಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ವೇನ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ದ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಟು ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ when you practice the diagram, so these all things will be get easy. Okay, so please practice the diagram. I hope you noted down the answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question is, name a vein which carries oxygenated blood. Name an artery which carries the deoxygenated blood. Why is left ventricle and heart is thicker than the right ventricle? Okay, so note down the question. Yes. Note down all 3 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first one, name the vein which carries the oxygenated blood. That already we have discussed. That is the pulmonary vein. Yes. So here, second answer is, name the artery which carries the deoxygenated blood. Just I told. What is that? Pulmonary artery. Yes, that is the correct answer. Why is left ventricle of the heart is thicker than the right ventricle of the heart? Okay, so because left ventricle is thick, because what is the reason? It has to push blood to all the parts as much greater pressure. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಪುಷ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಏನಾಗ್ಬೇಕು? ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಪುಷ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದ thick ventricle walls are thick. Okay, so that is the reason. Note down the answer. Okay, shall I move the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here assign the specific functions to the following organs in relation with the excretion in the human beings. So what is the function of these different parts of the excretory system? So kidney, glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, tubular part of the nephron, urinary bladder and urethra. So these all are parts of the excretory system. So you should write the specific function of that. First one is kidney.
Store the
Kidney help for the urine formation, right? So urine is formed in the kidney. Then second one is, what is the second one answer?
filtration of the
Second
body.
question. So that is glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. So where they are present,
Body.
listen. Here, this glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule, where they are present? They are present in the
Muscles.
nephron. Don't say the wrong answer confidently. Okay. So here, nephron. So they have the cup-like structure that is called as Bowman's capsule, right? So this Bowman's capsule, they receives the blood vessels, and so together it is called as glomerulus. So glomerulus that contain the blood vessels and the cup-like structure, Bowman's capsule, right? So where the filtration of the blood will takes place, ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗತ್ತೆ blood filtration ಆಗತ್ತೆ. Those who have confusion, please watch the video where in the life processes chapter I have explained this completely. Okay, so ಇದನ್ನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾನೆ. ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಗ್ಲೊಮೆರುಲಸ್ and the Bowman's capsule, they are the part of the nephron. They help for the process of filtration of the blood. So blood filtration ಗೆ help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, then tubular part of the nephron. So ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೌಮನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸುಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಕಪ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಗೆ ಬೌಮನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸುಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಮೂವ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್. ಈ ತರ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಈ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸಮ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಇದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೀ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ, ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೆಫ್ರಾನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೀಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರೀಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂರಿಟರ್. ಯೂರಿಟರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ನಾನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಯೂರಿಟರ್?
Transportation of urine from
Urine to
kidney
the
and urinary bladder.
ಯೂರಿನರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಡರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಯೂರಿನರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಡರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು? ಯೂರಿನರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಡರ್, it stores the urine.
It stores the urine.
Yes. Urethra, what is urethra? That is the tube for the passing out the urine. Okay, passing out the urine. So that help for the passing of the urine. So these are the different parts of the excretory system with their function. So is that clear? Any doubt? Another doubt idya?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. So is that completed?
Yes.
So see the question. how do guard cells regulate opening and closing of the stomatal pores? So guard cells are there, so that is in the stomata. So how they are able to regulate the opening and closing of the stomatal pores? And two similar green plants are kept separately in oxygen free containers, one in dark and the other in continuous light. Which will be live longer? Give reasons. So here, note down the first question. How do guard cells regulate the opening and closing of the stomatal pores? Okay. So answer is, guard cells regulate the opening and closing of the stomata. So that is because of the movement of the water in and out of the guard cells. When water moves into the guard cells, they become flaccid, means uh, they will become flaccid structure. This causes the outer walls of the cells bulge out and vice versa. So just note down what is the function of the guard cells. Okay, so how they are able to regulate the opening and closing of that stomata. And second question is, so what is the second question? Two plants are kept in the here. Read the question. Two similar green plants are kept separately in oxygen free container. So they are kept in the oxygen free container, means oxygen is absent there. One in dark and other in the continuous light. So one should be kept in the dark and one should be kept in the continuous light. Which is able to live longer? Give reasons. Yes, anybody? Which is able to live longer? Which is in the continuous light, that is able to live longer, because that is able to perform the photosynthesis and release the oxygen, right? So here, the plant kept in continuous light will live longer because it will be able to produce the oxygen required for its respiration by the process of photosynthesis ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಇಂದ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಲಿವ್ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. ಸೊ ನೋಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. We'll end this session with this question. Okay, so we'll continue in the next session. So next session ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಈ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
Over, ma'am.
Okay, if you have any doubts you can ask, otherwise we'll continue in the next session. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we'll end the session here. Please note down these all questions. These all are very important for your exam. Okay, thank you students. We'll meet in the next session.
Next session.